Hi, everyone. Welcome to our September 2022 version of the Ask the Expert interview series. I'm excited today to have Mona Huff with the Trager Institute for Optimal Aging. She is the Community Health Education Coordinator there. And because September is Healthy Aging Month, we are excited to talk to her to just raise awareness on how all of us at any age can work towards healthy aging. So thank you, Mona, for being on with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Perfect. First, just wanted to have you kind of give an overall explanation of the Trager Institute for Optimal Aging and kind of how it came about and kind of a little bit about what you do and just overall what the services are provided.
Okay, well, in order to get started with that, we have to go back a few years. In 2010, the University of Louisville Trager Institute and KIPTA came together and wrote a grant. And the first grant that we got was for diabetes awareness. And at that time, we were concentrating on 3 counties, which was Spencer, where did I get that one from? It was Henry, Shelby, and Bullitt counties. And those counties were chosen because at that time, their rates of diabetes was very high. So how I got involved is they was looking for someone who was familiar with community education, had done a lot of community work, but if possible, they also wanted someone who was living with diabetes and had managed that. I had recently lost a job due to grant funding and was thinking that I was going to retire. And one day I get a call, and it was from Dr. Anna Fall, and she was with the Kent's social work program. And that's how it first started, was she, Dr. Joe D'Ambrosio, and Dr. Pam Yankee Love, who all worked with the Kent's social work program, was looking at ways to infuse mental health into our communities and our workforces, especially our health education, because so often we look at the biological health and not the mental health. And so that's what we were trying to do, is to infuse the mental health and help folks understand more about diabetes. Well, that was a 5-year grant. And then when that grant was over with, they had grown this great concept in their mind from some of the smaller work that we did, that they wanted to find a grant that would help them infuse mental health into our workplaces. We had worked with some doctors in those 3 counties and had been able to do some really great things, and we wanted to spread it. And so the next grant that they got was they actually got 2 grants. One was what we call the GWEP, and that was Geriatric Workforce Enhancement. And so we were working with our healthcare organizations in order for them to be able to infuse mental health into their work. And then we had the behavioral grant. And with that, we were able to get a large number of practicum students that could help us with this work. So I came along on the second grant as still the health education person out in our communities. And my main role is to learn the communities, find out what their resources are. I do health education programs in the communities, and be able to work alongside the practicum students to help them know how to help folks. So as part of this mission that these folks had, they worked with Dr. Christian Furman, who was our medical director, and was able to start funding a clinic. And we got money from Trager family and the Republic Bank, and that's how we were able to get our clinic. So now at the clinic, we have a gerontologist, we have other doctors that also work alongside, of course, nurse practitioners. We have physical therapy. We have other health and wellness things that folks can be a part of. Their hope was to kind of see a one-stop shop. So if a person comes there, they can do physical therapy. We have health and wellness, which includes massage, acupuncture, and yoga. And in a few short months, we're actually going to have a kitchen where we can not only teach medical students about nutrition, but we'll be able to do that to our patients and our community. So I'm really looking forward to that, because that really is going to make all of our care a little bit more holistic. So what happens with our students is they are assigned in different places. Some of them are in nursing homes. Some of them are in emergency rooms. Some of them are in places such as Park Duval. We've had them at Mercy Clinic, emergency rooms. And what they're doing is working alongside the patients who have chronic diseases and also may need some mental health services. And they're kind of working like a case manager. So within this, Dr. Fall and several others, I know she would say, helped come up with what we call the Flourish Care Index, which is a very in-depth assessment that we, the students will work with the patients to get that answered. And what it does is help us understand where the patient may be in their health journey, or just really a lot of questions as far as economics, as far as things that's happened to them, whether they're happy most days, and on I can go. And with that, we get a really in-depth picture and ways to be able to walk alongside that person in their journey of health. And then we come together, we are together every Wednesday, and we do what we call a case conceptualization. And that assessment, and of course, all this is done with the patient's knowledge and permission. And also very often their doctors are working alongside us if it's not our own doctors. And we have an interdisciplinary group. Of course, we have the different practicum students that we have there. We also have an elder law at our institution. We have community members. We have folks from the area aging, of course, folks like me who know the resources. And then we just really zero in on what would help that patient become healthier. Now, one of the things that's very important to us at the Trager Institute is what is called the 4 M's of healthcare, of aging. And one of those M's, and probably the most important, is what matters to the patient. And so it is the students' work, whether they do it by motivational interviewing or how they are able to work alongside that person to find out really what matters to them. Because sometimes a person really doesn't know. And especially if they've been dealing with multiple chronic diseases for a long period of time, they're just not sure what matters and not sure how to even articulate that. So sometimes it takes a little while. And then another of those M's is movement or mobility. I'm getting it confused with my 4 M's of my program, mobility. And of course, we are concerned about our patients being able to walk safely and going up and down steps and those kind of things. But we're also concerned about them having proper transportation to get where they need to go. And of course, we work alongside the different ministries and the different programs in our communities to make sure they can get to their doctor's office, that they can get groceries and that kind of thing. Another one of the M's is mentation, which is a way of talking about their mental health and how we can help with that. And the other M is medication. And a lot of times our seniors don't understand their medications. All they know, they've been told to take pills. And so we try to help them understand why they're taking it, some of the side effects that could go along with it so that they can be ready for that. We also talk to them about adherence, how important it is to be truthful with their doctor and let their doctor know what they're doing. And as time goes on and the relationship is built and we find that they're really wanting to get healthier, we try to help them see different behavior modifications that may help them reduce medications, because often they're taking another pill for a side effect of some of the pills they're taking, and they have a large number of pills, which is as we age, that's really hard on our body, because as we age, our liver and our kidneys do begin to decline in function. I mean, that's kind of a normal part of aging. And so that means that our body can't get rid of all the toxins and all the medications. So what we may have been able to take when we were younger may not be what we need as we get older. And so we try to help them see that, because often they've got a large number of pills and they think that's what's keeping them alive, and you're not going to touch their pills. So sometimes it takes a while for them to understand that. So that's kind of what goes on in the clinic. Now, what goes on out in the county are different types of health events. We do some of these through the clinic as well, don't get me wrong, but my main job is to be in the rural areas, and I help lead what's called My Health Matters, which we have been doing that by Zoom now since the beginning of COVID. Prior to COVID, I did it once a month in our community, and I offered it to folks who just wanted to be healthier, wanted a safe place to come. A lot of folks that would take classes with me would say, when the class is over with, oh my goodness, I still want somebody to talk to once in a while. So I was doing it once a month. Well, then when COVID came, we just really decided we needed to do it on a weekly basis for a multitude of reasons. But we knew that a lot of folks were going to be isolated. They were going to be lonely. And then also we really wanted to help them keep up with their health during that time. And we're still doing that every Monday night by Zoom, simply because the folks that come to it don't want us to stop. We've offered to start doing it once a month by Zoom and once a month face-to-face. And no, we want it every Monday night. So we're still doing that. We have guest speakers every Monday night. If someone that's listening has a topic they're passionate about to help with holistic health, of course, we're not selling products or services, but we're trying to help folks with holistic health. The speaker gets 20 to 30 minutes to speak, and then we have another 10 to 15 minutes for discussion and questions. And so it's just really a good time. Another thing that I do is I am the lead on what we call Flourishing Together classes. And that is a program that came from Microclinics International curriculum. And we've been working with them and really started working with them really closely with COVID, because prior to COVID, again, that was a face-to-face class. And so Dr. Daniel Zolby, who is the one who wrote the curriculum and the executive director of Microclinic, contacted me. And what I did at the very beginning of COVID is to take that 16-week face-to-face class and redo it so that it could be 10 weeks with PowerPoints. And we have found that that has worked so well that we're going to keep that, and we have permission from them to do so, even with our face-to-face classes. I have done face-to-face classes in the last year, but most of our classes are still by Zoom because it's so convenient for folks. Especially if you work, it's hard to get home at 5 or 6 o'clock and then go out at 7 o'clock for a class. And so, but that program is also designed for organizations. And the reason I want to mention that is because if your workplace employees are healthier, then your profit's going to be greater. You're going to be paying less sick leave. You're going to have better production. Also, a lot of times our people get so much healthier that they don't use the health care insurance as much. And one of the things that we've been able to do at the University of Louisville with the academics part is that the HR has adopted the Flourishing Together as part of their health and wellness program. And if the employees take the class and they allow them to take it on company time, they can get points for taking that class. And if they get so many points in a period of time, then the following year, their healthcare premium is reduced by $40 a month. So that's $480 a year because they took a class to get healthier on the company's time. And we have seen great results with that. We have seen people be able to reduce their medications, their blood pressures be reduced, their A1Cs reduced. And of course, people have been able to lose weight, although that is not the primary purpose of the class. The primary purpose of the class is to get healthy. And then if we need to lose weight, our body will shed it in time. I'm a firm believer that we want to be careful with the diet concept, because that is a multi-billion-dollar business and has actually hurt many people by doing crazy things to their body and then turning around and gaining that weight. So we talk about nutrition. And when I said I was getting it confused with the 4 M's, in microclinics now flourishing together, we too have 4 M's, and those are meals, and we don't talk about diet, we talk about nutrition. Movement, and we talk about just moving a little bit more every week. We meet people wherever they are. I've had folks in wheelchair, and we've done range of motions, pushing of the feet, this kind of thing. And then I've had people that have started walking and doing marathons and all of that kind of thing. So we meet people wherever they are. So we have meals, we have movement, and we have medications, and we have the same philosophy. We're trying to reduce meds, but we certainly do not do that without a person working alongside their healthcare provider. And our last M is monitoring. It's a little bit different than what the 4 M's of the aging is. And what that does is it tells our people how important it is for them to know their numbers and to understand what their numbers mean, and know when to contact their healthcare providers when the numbers are out of the suggested realms for them. So many people will take their blood sugar and do nothing with that number. And same is true with blood pressure. So we try to help people to understand that. So do you have any more questions about flourishing together? I mean, I could go on together forever with that. One of the main things about flourishing together, I guess I should say, is that we work in teams. And there's something about that social connection, the accountability, the encouragement, and we often refer that as the secret sauce of the success of the program. And I've had folks who've met people. I first started teaching the classes back in 2015, that are still remaining friends and accountable to each other and do things together. And the main mantra is that we believe health is contagious. So we're learning how to take care of ourselves and others, and ultimately our community, because my goal is that Kentucky becomes a healthier state. Of course, I have a very partial feeling toward individuals and families and communities, but I think our state as a whole can do so much better. And I think we are better than what the outcomes show. We just need to learn how to do that in a very simple way. It shouldn't be quite so complicated. Yeah. And I've gone on, but
you're fine. You're fine. As I mentioned kind of before we started this interview, I know that your institute does a lot of work and has a lot of programs. But if someone is interested in getting involved and participating in any of the programs that you mentioned, how do people go about doing that?
Well, probably the very best way is just to go on the website, tragerinstitute.org. However, if we have someone listening, I'm not sure how they would listen without the computer, but if we have someone that does not use the computer, then perhaps I could give my phone number and they could call me for information. And that number is 502-706-0098, or if we want to use the zeros, 502-706-0098. And I would be willing to talk to anyone. We have many other programs that I've not mentioned yet. We have a caregiver program, and that is an excellent program because we know that our caregivers have a difficult, even though it's a joyful job. And we want to help them to be able to flourish themselves as they are helping their loved ones during this difficult time. So our caregiver program is designed for those who are caring for someone who is 60 and above. And this person will come alongside that caregiver and help them find the resources that they may need, help them with some education, There's always trainings. There's a support group. In fact, there's a couple different support groups. Again, all that can be found on the website. And it is a wonderful program for our folks. If someone is interested in wanting to be a client so that someone could really study their case and be a part of the case conceptualization, we would prefer that referral comes from their healthcare provider. And again, the healthcare provider can go on our webpage and find a place where they can refer them. And the reason we say that is because we want to be able to work alongside their healthcare provider. It's not our aim to take clients from people, but yet if they come on their own, and there have been some that have done that, but it's difficult then for us to be able to help them to make changes without working alongside their personal health care provider. But we're willing to do what needs to be done to help folks. Of course, we do have a gerontologist. And so if someone is looking for someone who specializes in taking care of people who are aging, then we're certainly the place to go. And, they would just call the regular number or do whatever the website tells them to do to make an appointment. Let's see. There was another program I was thinking about, and I can't think. Oh, our virtual friendly visitor. Oh my goodness, can't forget that one. My supervisor would surely get me on that one. During COVID, again, we know that there were some different places who had been doing face-to-face virtual friendly visitors and even making phone calls. But once COVID came, we realized that something had to be done to help the lonely and the isolated. And so we wrote grants like crazy, and we actually got some tablets that we can take into a person's home and teach them how to use it. And they can have a practicum student who will call them weekly, every other week, whatever works best for the client, and just help them feel like someone is there. And of course, during that discovery, if we find out they need additional help, we're able to help them get that. And we're still doing that, even though, we're a little bit more open about going into people's homes. But this is a really good way for our practicum students to be able to help a lot of people without a lot of travel, since we are such a broad area. But if someone needs a personal visit, then we're able to do that as well.
Are the programs and services still, I don't know if they were ever limited to those 3 counties that you mentioned in the beginning, but who is eligible?
We didn't have all those services with the 3 counties. All we had was the diabetes education. But when we wrote the new grant, we are now going statewide, and we actually have practicum students all over the state. We have joined, I guess, for better term, with many universities that are sending their social work students to us. We also have nurse practitioners as part of our work, and then family counselors. So it's not just social workers. There's quite a few different ways that a person can have a practicum through us. It's really big now compared to what it was. Our first practicum group, I think we had 7. And now I think it's about 60. So it's been a joy to see how this has grown and how many people we've been able to help. And of course, a lot of our patients have seen some really great outcomes, and lives have been changed. And that's what we're all about.
Just one other question. If someone were interested in coming on as a client to do, I'm not going to say this right, but the casework, case studies, like you mentioned earlier, what's the time frame? I mean, when they come on as a client, kind of how many weeks
are they?
To my
knowledge right now, we are doing good because we're just getting settled into a semester and have quite a few students. So I don't think there would be much of a wait right now.
Okay.
If somebody was interested in that. Again, we would prefer that they go through their healthcare provider for the referral, but if they can do a self-referral, you'll see that on the webpage as well.
I guess we'll kind of start wrapping this up. But thank you for sharing everything that you have, and just want to refer people to go to the Trager Institute's website online to learn all about just the many, many programs that you all offer. I know you also partner with the city of Louisville and have some events with the mayor as well to try to promote healthy aging. Just kind of the last question I have for you is just, do you have any tips in general on how to get active and age as healthy as we can?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. One of the things that is really important is that we learn to move. And right now we have what we call the Challenge Walk. And again, you can find that on the Trager Institute page as well. And what we're doing on this Challenge Walk is that we have our counties divided into small, medium, and large. And we have a trophy that's given to the county who has the most steps. And it's for the whole month of September. So some may say, well, golly, we're so far into September. But if you're one of those that has a Fitbit, or you know that you walk 30 minutes every day, you can still enter all that information into the Qualtrics, which again, you can find that on our webpage. And what you do is it just asks for your name, and it asks for your zip code and your county. So your county will get the credit for the steps. And this traveling trophy will be presented at our Kentucky Coalition for Healthy Communities and ECHO meeting on October 20th from 12 to 2. And I really didn't talk about that very much, but our ECHO is a premier program that we have that is teaching folks how to help us seniors flourish. And so there's a number of people that come to this, from our area agencies to, well, Metro that you were just talking about, U of L, all of these folks come to this meeting. And again, we do a short, we have a specialist who speaks, an expert on whatever subject we're talking about. The one that we're having this Friday is on being able to stop smoking and what it does to our lungs. And after that, there is just a short case of someone that we try to align it with what our topic is. And then immediately, still as part of that ECHO, but we go into what we call the Kentucky Healthy Communities Coalition. And with that, we try to figure out how are we going to get this information out into our communities. And then we share anything that's going on in our communities. And that's when that's in October is how we will share who won the trophies. Just so you know, last year, the small county was won by Trimble County, and the medium size was won by Shelby County. And we didn't have anyone from the larger counties, but this year, Fayette and Jefferson are fighting it out, trying to see which one of those can win. And I don't know if anyone else, I haven't looked at it for a while, but at that time, those were the two large counties. But at the Trager Institute, we really believe that aging is an opportunity. And we want people to get rid of the myth that you have to be sick as you old. We really can die of old age if we take care of ourselves. And the way I suggest that we do that is to eat healthy most of the time. And some people don't know what that means. So I hope that they will come to Flourishing Together and learn what that means. I don't give a list of thou shall not eats, but what I help us do is learn what to eat that is nutritious, what's going to help our bodies. And after a while, our bodies will start craving those good things and not want the things that are not quite as good for us. Moving every day. Sitting is now recognized as perhaps as harmful as smoking. And in today's world of sitting before the computer, we have to be really careful of that. Find healthy ways to reduce stress. Stress is a killer. And we have to learn how to do deep breathing and how to be able to talk to a therapist when we need to. I always tell folks asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but indeed a sign of strength. So we try to help people normalize going and seeing someone to talk with. And build and honor community. We need each other. We were made for each other, and discover our spirituality and sleep 7 to 9 hours. So those are the kinds of things that I will be talking about in Flourishing Together, or whoever leads you. I'm not the only leader. And hopefully those holistic hints can help you become healthier and flourish as you age and enjoy aging. It's fun. I'm 75 and I'm having more fun than I ever had. And so thankful that I'm able to do what I'm able to do. And I contributed a lot of that to the Trager Institute for having encouraged me all these years in my journey.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mona, for being on with us today. Again, this is our September 2022 episode of Ask the Expert interview. And we are happy to talk with you about September being Healthy Aging Month. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, and let's make every day Healthy Aging Day, not just September.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mona.
Thank you.